A very good morning, class. Today we'll start with a new chapter that is the fundamental unit of life, which is the cell. The word cell comes from a Greek word kaitos, means hollow, a vessel, and logos means to discourse. So the study of cell is known as cell biology. It deals with the study of cells from morphological, physiological, biochemical, chemical, genetical, as well as development point of views. Okay, so the cell is said to be the fundamental and the basic unit of life. It is the smallest structure and functional unit of life. Now, the history behind how the cell was discovered. Robert Hooke, in the year 1665, when he was examining a cork cell, he he noticed that there were some honeycomb shaped structures consisting of many little compartments. These little compartments comes from a Latin word which means cell. This means that they were very small and insignificant to be seen with the naked eyes. At first, it was thought that this discovery is of no use because what can these small structures, these such minute things which cannot even be seen, were of any importance? But later on, when the discovery of this compound microscope came into account, the importance of these cells were discovered. Let's discuss the discovery of cell. In the year 1665, Robert Hooke, he was an English scientist, saw cells in a thin slice of cork. Now let's discuss some property of cell. What is the function of cell that makes it so important? Cell is the fundamental unit of life. That is our topic itself. And cell also regulates many of our activities, like it controls cell division. The various cell organelles present in are meant for various functions of our body. The organelles we'll discuss later, but let's give a brief view in the beginning. This small structure is lysosome. Lysosome are the suicidal bags. Golgi apparatus. The function of this apparatus is mainly for packaging the cell membrane. This is the cell membrane, the outermost covering. This is a very important structure as it is selectively permeable. These are the centrioles which help in cell division. The centrioles are absent in the higher plants, but they are present in some lower plants. The endoplasmic reticulum, these are of two types, the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The cytoplasm is a substance, is a fluid-like structure where all these components of the cells, the cell organelles, are present. Let's move on further. How were these little compartments seen? As we all know, cells are too small to be seen by the naked eyes. They are studied with the help of microscopes. What are microscopes? Microscopes are high-resolution instruments that are used for observing the fine details, the very minute details. The cells, like these organelles, these are very much minute. These were be seen with the help of the microscope. This is the structure of a compound microscope. You can see the lens. It is fitted with two lenses, the eyepiece, and here the lens which is used for refracting the eye on the object that is placed here. Here we make a slide. A slide is a glass rectangular shape. On this particular whatever we want to see, we keep here with a very much minute section cutting, and then this is the stage where the slide is kept. These are the two lenses with different focal lengths, and these are mainly for adjusting focus of the light so that the whatever we are seeing can be seen very easily. This is the arm which is mainly for handling the equipment, that is the compound microscope. The onion peel. These are the cells of onion peel. In this activity you can read it by your own self that how I'll just summarize it. In this we have to take an onion peel and make it inside out. The inner layer is very much thin. With the help of a forceps, we will take out a very minute, a thin section from the onion peel. Keep it in a watch glass which is containing water so that it doesn't dry. Then we'll watch it on the microscope, and what we see is these, the little compartments. The little compartments signifies the cell. Everything is made up of cell, whether a big onion or a small, the cells will be the same, of same structure. Now, what are these structures? These structures look similar to each other. Together, they form a very big structure like an onion bulb. We have studied like cell was discovered by Robert Hooke. Now, further, who was Leeuwenhoek? Leeuwenhoek was a scientist but he came on later after Hooke already discovered the cells. He said that when he was going by a pond, it was not a very much clean pond. That's why he was able to see very small, minute living cells floating on the pond. It was after the discovery of microscope, because other than if there was no microscope, these would not be able to see, as it is very small. In the year 1674, Leeuwenhoek, with the improved microscope, discovered free living cells in pond water for the first time, and he called them animalcule. He used the term animalcule for these very small freely living cells. Robert Brown discovered nucleus. Nucleus we will discuss further. Now, what is the significance of the different shapes and structures? As we all know, these are all the cells, very minute cells, the sperm cells, fat cell, blood cell, and smooth cells. You can see these are all of very much different size. The size is the shape and size of cell is very much important, as when we see amoeba, it is a unicellular. The size of the cell is also small. It is of importance as it helps in diffusion. We all know amoeba performs all its activity with a single cell. Therefore, the size of the cell, the shape of the cell is capable of squeezing and regaining its shape so that it can perform the excretion as well as absorption. This is the spindle-like shape of smooth muscle cell. These are oval, the blood cells, the RBCs. So now let's move on further with the various parts of cell and what it is composed of. The outermost covering of the cell we all know is cell wall. But cell wall is present only in plant cells, not in animal cell. In animal cell wall is completely absent. This is a cell wall. It is made up of mainly cellulose, sometimes lignin and pectin. When the concentration of lignin and pectin is in higher amount, the cell wall is completely dead, and cellulose is providing rigidity to the cell wall. The cell wall is very rigid. It maintains the shape of the plant cell. The plant cells are hexagonal. They cannot be of any shape like animal cell. They are particularly hexagonal because of the presence of cell wall. A rigid outer covering outside plasma membrane is called cell wall. It is found mainly in fungi, bacteria and plant cells, but not in animal cells. It is found mainly in fungi, bacteria. In some plant cell, it is made up of cellulose. It is mentioned in some, but in others, it could be of lignin, pectin, etc. And it is completely permeable. The main difference lies between cell wall and plasma membrane is that cell wall is completely permeable. It allows everything to pass through, but that plasma membrane is selectively permeable. It cannot allow everything to pass. Otherwise, it could be a problematic for our body. It will absorb anything. That is not the case. Now, the membrane, the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is composed of lipid bilayer. These are the lipids, and in middle the proteins are present. The transmembrane proteins are the ones which help in transportation activities. The lipid is made up of hydrophilic head. The head is hydrophilic. Hydrophilic is the one which is water loving. It is easily dissolvable in water. The tail, this is the tail that you can see hanging the green color. It is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic, it is non-soluble in water, but it is soluble in lipid. The plasma membrane is the fluid. This is the fluid mosaic model. The fluid mosaic model is the one which is consisting of lipid bilayer uh, and the proteins. The transmembrane protein is the one passing between two lipid layers. These are integral. The word integral means present in between something. So whatever thing is present in between two things, it is called integral. The phospholipid is the one, the lipids which are present in combination with the phosphates. Hydrophobic region, you all know the ones. Hydrophilic, that are water loving. Glycoproteins. Carbohydrate side chain. These are the carbohydrate side chains. This complete structure resembles that of plasma membrane, and it was the best fitted model that was selected after many models that came into account. One was liposome model that was rejected because it could not completely describe the plasma membrane structure. Let's talk about the transport across plasma membrane. We all know, I have told you earlier, that plasma membrane is selectively permeable. But how it makes itself selectively permeable, that we'll discuss here. Membranes. The membrane acts as a physical barrier between the organelles of a cell and its cytoplasm and its surrounding environment. What is the word impermeable means? Substances that do not pass through the membrane. Permeable, where both solute as well as solvent can pass through. Semi-permeable. The word semi-permeable describes the membrane where permeable to solvent but prevents solute passage. Selectively permeable is the one which we describe for plasma membrane. These are the various types of transports. The active transport. First, we'll learn about the active transport. Active transport word comes because by the process of active transport, the substances which are unable to move themselves are driven by ATP. ATP is the energy currency. ATP drives the materials or anything from one place to another. Without ATP, this passage will not be possible. Active transport uses energy to pump molecules against a concentration gradient. What is a concentration gradient? If we can see a water, pure water, and a salt solution, then at this place, if we connect these two different solutions with a hole in between, the concentration gradient will be formed. Concentration gradient is the one when at one place the concentration is very less, that is water. Pure water have nothing in it. It is completely pure, therefore no concentration. The sugar solution is concentrated as the sugar is dissolved in it. Now the flow of water will start from the place where water is present in higher amount to the place where water is present in the lower amount. This process is also called as osmosis when we use a selectively permeable membrane. We'll discuss that later. Let's learn about active transport. Active transport is carried out by membrane proteins. I told you the proteins. Some proteins are present in the in between the lipid bilayers of plasma membrane. These proteins help in active transport. These active transport pumps use energy to carry substances across the cell membrane. These pumps can transport substances from lower concentration to a higher concentration. Transport rate reaches maximum when all the protein transporters are being used. जितने भी यहाँ पर प्रेजेंट होंगे प्रोटीन्स, वो अगर सब हम लोग यूज कर रहे हैं और सब यूज हो रहे हैं एक ही टाइम पे, तो जो हम लोग का ट्रांसफर होगा, ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑफ एनीथिंग विल बी एट इट्स मैक्सिमम, एट इट्स पीक. अगर कुछ यूज हो रहे हैं तो वैसे वैसे करके हम लोग का ट्रांसपोर्ट स्लो होता जाएगा. So this was your active transport. What is uniport? Active transport is again of three types. The uniport from only one direction. It is unidirectional from one place to another. Symport, when two different molecules are being transported from same direction. Like this is also coming from, these two both are coming from this side to here. And this is antiport, when one molecule is coming from other side and other molecule is coming from other side. You can see the arrows. S1 is coming here and S2 is going there, and through a single passage. This signifies antiport. Anti means opposite to each other, sim means similar to each other, and uni means in one direction, unidirection. Come to the passive transport. We all know that in the process of absorption and excretion in the unicellular organisms like amoeba, they do not have different cells. Therefore, one cell performing all the function. Diffusion is the process which helps in doing so. movement by diffusion is a passive one and may be from one part of the cell to another or from different cell to cell over short distances. Water also moves from one cell to another. This water movement can be done by diffusion. The best example of diffusion we can see when we spray some perfume at one corner of a room. You can see after some point of time the smell spreads everywhere. This is what diffusion means. When something is present in lower concentration and something is present in higher concentration, then the transfer starts at once from higher to lower. This signifies diffusion. Diffusion is very important process for unicellular organisms. They absorb as well as excrete with the help of diffusion. Now let's move further with our chapter. This is a brief which I explained you earlier. Unicellular freshwater organisms and most plant cells tend to gain water through osmosis. Osmosis, the process by which water from the higher concentration moves to the place where its concentration is low through a semi-permeable membrane. Thus diffusion is important in exchange of gases and water in the life of a cell. Okay, let's learn something more about osmosis. What is osmosis? Okay, the movement of water across the plasma membrane is also affected by the amount of substance dissolved. Amount of substance dissolved is the concentration. जितना ज़्यादा amount of substance dissolved होगा, the more concentrated the solution will be. Okay. Thus, osmosis is the passage of water from a region of high water concentration or low solute concentration. When we mention high water concentration, then the same meaning is low solute concentration. When water concentration is high, solvent concentration is high, the solute concentration will be less. And through a semi-permeable membrane to a region of low water concentration or high solute concentration. These are some activities what will happen when if the medium surrounding has a higher water concentration than the cell. The medium surrounding this higher water concentration, then meaning that the outside solution is very dilute. Dilute means more water. The cell will gain water and become swell up. Put some dried raisins. We can do this activity as at home also. We can use some dried raisins and make them soak in water overnight. Then we will see the raisins will swell up in size and be the size of a grape. This refers to the hypotonic solution, and the process in this is endosmosis. There are three types of endosmosis: osmosis, endosmosis, exosmosis. And if the medium has the exactly same water concentration as the cell, this is another type. When the concentration of the solute as well as the solvent, like for example, when two pure water are connected by a semi-permeable membrane and both the sides we have pure water, there will be movement of water, but the net movement, that is from one place to another, will be same. Therefore, there will be zero net movement and we cannot say any osmosis taking place. Therefore, the solution is said to be isotonic. Iso means similar. The third one, hypertonic. When a raisin is placed in a concentration of water plus sugar, when water is sugar and very high amount, and the same raisin that we place in first activity will be placed in this, we'll see that the raisin shrinks in size. This resembles that the solution is hypertonic and the cell or the raisin will shrink its size. Thus, osmosis is a special case of diffusion through a selectively permeable membrane. Diffusion can also be said osmosis when we apply a semi-permeable membrane in between the movement of two molecules. Let's discuss the nucleus. Remember, we made the temporary mount peel. I've already told you that this was the this was said to be the master organ of the body. Like we have a master organ of a body, the brain. It is similar to that when it comes to cell. When we're talking about cell, the main organ, the particular organ that controls all the activity of the cell, that is nucleus. When we made that peel of onion, we saw that there was some portions that were highly stained. Staining was done with iodine solution, or we can also do it with some other stain like saffronin, and one more is there. You can see that on your own, methylene blue or whatever. Okay, so when we do the staining process of the onion peel, we saw that some places were there where the staining was very much high, very much darker, and there were some places where it was very much minute or very much lighter. The place where the darker staining was there, we call it the nucleus. The nucleus is a darkly colored spherical or oval dot-like structure near the center of each cell. It is present in the center. This is the structure of nucleus. Let's discuss what nucleus is. Dense protoplasmic body that contains hereditary information controlling cell activities as well as for transfer to next generation. It lies in median or central position. It is also called a nucleoid when no membrane, outer membrane is present. It is called nucleoid. Nucleoid is present in prokaryotes. I will explain prokaryotes and eukaryotes later on. Cells like RBC, sieve elements lack nucleus. There are some cells which do not have nucleus. Cells without nucleus cannot survive for a long time. We know the RBC have a lifespan of only 120 days. This is because they do not have a nucleus. Now, on the basis of presence or absence of nuclear membrane, we have prokaryotes and eukaryotes. When prokaryotes are the bacteria where the nuclear membrane is present, is not present, like bacteria and lower algae, and in eukaryotes the nuclear membrane is present and a very much well defined nucleus present. In the diagram you can see the bacteria, no well defined nucleus here, and here a well defined nucleus present. Nucleus we'll discuss later on. Now this is all for today. You all can prepare